Hey everybody, it's been a few days since we posted anything. I wanted to pick up back with our Bible study today. We are in Matthew 13. I apologize. We're going to pick up with Matthew 13. We left off with Jesus talking about his mothers and brothers. And I'm going to read the last paragraph of 12 and we'll get into 13 just to keep it in context. Now the scenario was, while he was talking to the multitudes, behold, his mother and brother stood outside, seeking to speak with him. Then one side said to him, "Look, your mother and brothers are standing outside, seeking to speak with you." But he answered and said to him, "Who is my mother, and who are my brothers?" And he stretched out his hand toward his disciples and said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother, sister, and mother." I tell people this a lot. Being blood related to somebody doesn't make you family. The person that you can call, that has your back, that is standing beside you when the times are hard, that's family. Jesus is saying here, he takes it a step further, and he's saying, anybody who does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother or sister or mother. Now notice he didn't say father. Why? Because there's only one Father. You have a earthly father, because we have to have one to be born, despite what you hear in the news. But there's only one Father. So in Christ, my earthly father would be my brother. All right, the parable of the sower, always one of my favorites. Picking up on Matthew 13. Now I'm still reading from my New King James Version. On the same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the sea, and great multitudes were gathered together to him, so that he got into a boat and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. He then spoke many things to them in parables, saying, "Behold, a sower went out to sow." And if you don't know what a sower is, he's somebody who plants something. He's a farmer, basically. And to sow means he's planting seeds. And as he sowed, some seed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. Some fell on stony places where they did not have much earth. They immediately sprang up because they had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, then they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. Remember, we talk a lot about deep roots and the living waters. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns sprang up and choked them. But others fell on good ground and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. He's talking about Christians. Some people hear the word and they go nuts. They're on fire for Jesus. But as soon as the first bad thing happens, out they go. No depth, no faith, or not very much. The purpose of parables. And the disciples came and said to him, "Why do you speak to them in parables?" He answered them, "Because it has been given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For whoever has, to him will be more given, and whoever will have in abundance. But whoever does not have, even what he has to be taken away from him. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, which means they can see it, but they not seeing it. They not understanding. And hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. And if them, the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled, which says, hearing you will hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you will see, and not perceive. For the hearts of the people have grown dull, they've waxed cold. Their ears are hard of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears. Lest they should understand with their hearts and turn, so that I should heal them. We are all in need of healing at some point. But did you take that healing and go with it? Or did you take that healing briefly and started back down the road again because that road was easier? But blessed are your eyes, for they see, your ears, for they hear. For assuredly I say to you, that many prophets and righteous men desire to see what you see, and do not see it, and to hear what you hear, and do not hear it. All right, now here's where he's going to explain the parable of the sower. Therefore, hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away what has sown in his heart. This is he who receives seed by the wayside. But he who received the seed on stony places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. They hear it on fire. Yet he has no root in himself, but endures only for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. No root to take hold. Now he who received the seed among the thorns is he who hears the word and cares for this world, and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful. Because he who receives seed on the good ground is he who hears the word, understands it, who indeed bears fruit and produces some 60-fold, 100-fold, 30-fold. So the thorns of the world come up and capture us. Parable of the wheat and the tares. Don't be a tare. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while he slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Sir, do you not sow good seed in your field? How does it have tares? And he said to them, an enemy has done this. These servants said to him, do you want us to then go and gather them up? But he said, no, lest while you gather up the tares, you will also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And at the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, first gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, and gather the wheat into my barn. Now, that's not a parable you need to have anybody explain to you. The tares are the unbelievers, and the fire they're going to is the lake. The wheat he's gathering to put in his barn is us. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, and Jesus is going to explain all this. Because I think he understood that, look, okay, I'm talking in parables, but they still are not understanding what I'm telling them. And this is not a great mystery. There is no great revelation here. There's no hidden message. There's none of that nonsense that you hear. I get so tired of false teachers. And I'll be honest with you, that's part of one of the reasons why I started this channel. I got tired of listening to false teachers. Oh, well, we're going to take one verse and we are going to make this entire new doctrine out of this one verse. Okay? Well, what about the verses before it and after it? What about the rest of the book? This is not hard to understand. God's not trying to deceive you. He's not trying to hide anything from you. He's not trying to get you later on. He's not trying to do any of that. He's like, look, this is what it is. Here it is. You either follow it or don't. And we will mourn you if you don't. But you will go to hell. Period. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. There's not a third choice. There's two. Choice A, choice B. Which one do you want? And you don't have to do anything to get choice B. You don't have to do a thing. You can live your life. You can do whatever you want to do. Choice B is going to roll around. But indirectly, you made the choice. Parable of the mustard seed. If anybody's ever seen a mustard seed, they are teeny little old things. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in the field, which indeed is the least of all the seeds. But when it is sown, it is greater than the herbs, and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air can come and nest in its branches. Parable of the leaven. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures, and a meal till it was which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of a meal till it was all leavened. A little leaven messes up the whole bunch. I heard this one time, many years ago. Never really thought about it. But think about it this way in sin. You have a pond. Doesn't have to be a big one, doesn't have to be a small one, whatever, just a pond. As kids, and sometimes adults with our kids or whatever, we love to skip rocks across that pond. So you take that rock and you skip that rock across the pond. It makes all the waves on the top. The waves go away. And all you see is this nice, pretty, glassy pond. But that rock, or that sin, fell to the bottom. That pond is forever changed. Because before you got there, that rock wasn't there. But now that rock is there. That pond is forever changed. You're not going to go in there and find that rock and pull it out. And if you did, then you're going to disturb what's there. The pond is forever changed. The more sin you let in your life, the more you're forever changed. Prophecy and parables. All these things Jesus spoke to the multitude in parables, and without a parable he did not speak to them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things kept secret from the foundation of the world. Here's where he explains the wheat and the tare. Then Jesus sent the multitude away and went into the house. And his disciples came to him, saying, explain to us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said to them, he who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seeds are the sons of the kingdom, but the tares are the sons of the wicked one. The enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. Therefore, as the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of this age. The Son of Man will be sent out, his angels, and they will gather all of his kingdom and all things that offend, and those who practice lawlessness, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine forth as the son of the kingdom of their Father. He who hears, let him hear. Pretty straightforward. Not a lot of guesswork. He didn't try to hide anything. He said, look, this is what it means. Parable of the hidden treasure. Again, the kingdom of heaven is a treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and hid. And for joy over it he comes and sells all that he has and buys the field. Pearl of a great price. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking a beautiful pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of a great price, he went and sold all that he had and bought it.